Okay, so this is going to be the drawing demonstration for how to just start drawing the pliers. And then I'll do another video for the wrench. So if you're doing a wrench, you need to watch a different video. So the very first thing you're going to do is, if you guys notice on your board, you have a line that goes straight down the middle of the board. And that's just so you guys can see how, or what the tool looks like when it is divided in half. So that's going to help with just how to kind of measure things out. So what we're going to do first is we're going to draw this line on here. Now, if you also look too, you can tell that your drawing paper is the same size as the board, so that should also help too with just kind of figuring out how to draw this and what size everything needs to be drawn to. You want to make sure that your paper is nice and tall like this, and you are going to put your ruler up here at the very top. You want to basically divide the paper width in half. So your paper is 12 inches wide, so 12 divided by 2 is 6. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a mark at the 6 measurements there. And you want to make your marks really light. I'm going to make my marks dark just so that way they are easier to see. So again, your guys are going to make your mark pretty light, and mine is going to be dark just for the video. So yeah, so there we go. And then to make the mark on the bottom, do not turn your around. So keep it like this, okay? And then just drag your ruler all the way down to the bottom of the paper. And then what you're going to do is you're going to measure, again, find the middle of your paper, which is at the 6-inch mark because the paper is 12 inches wide. And then what you're going to do, turn the paper around, and I'm going to zoom back. You can see the whole paper. You're going to take your ruler, connect the 2 marks, and you're going to draw a line down the middle. Now again, you should be drawing it very light. I'm going to make my line dark, so that way you guys can see it on the video, but your lines and your marks should be barely there, hard to see. And you should be drawing with a 4H pencil. So now I have this divided up, so this should look somewhat similar to this. All it is basically missing is the tool on the drawing. So the first step for this is to figure out where I'm going to put my tool. Now I want my tool to be somewhat in the middle of my paper, okay? So I would recommend that you guys, when you're doing this stuff, you can go ahead and take the tool off of the table easel, and you can kind of make your measurements, and then when you're done measuring and putting it down on your paper, pass it along to the person that's sitting next to you so they get a chance to do it too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how tall this tool is, and this particular tool that I have is about 7.5 inches tall. So 7.5 inches tall. I'm going to put this off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and turn my paper this way since that's easier for me to kind of handle. I'm going to look at the 7.5 inch measurement, or 7.5 inch measurement, and I'm just going to put my finger right there. I'm going to kind of center this somewhere on my paper, and I'm just going to eyeball this. There's no reason, it's not necessary for you to go in and try to with your ruler and make sure that it's even on both sides. So I'm just going to eyeball this. This will go a lot faster doing it this way than trying to measure everything completely out. So I'm just going to kind of make sure that that looks close to the center. I'm going to mark the top of that measurement, and then right here at the 7.5 inch mark. Now, your tool is going to be most likely a different size than mine, so you should not be using this measurement on your drawing. You should be measuring the tool that's at your table and using that for your paper. So because my tool is 7.5 inches tall, that's why I have 7.5 inches marked there. And now that I'm looking at it, I probably need to drop this down a little bit. So I'm going to move this down. It looks like it's just too big here. So again, this goes a lot quicker than trying to, make sure that, perfectly with the measurement and the ruler that everything's all perfect. So, just going to measure that out, erase that. If it takes you a couple times, that's fine. Not a big deal. So this is where my tool is going to go. All right. So the next step for me is to start mapping out some of the big stuff on the tool, just like we did with the shoe. I want to figure out, like if you guys look at it, it's pretty much it's pretty close to being a symmetrical tool, except things are a little different up there at the top, and that's fine. But I'm going to treat it kind of symmetrical, and then I'll fix things up as I go along. I need to figure out just how wide apart these handles need to be, or another thing I could do, you can approach this two different ways. I want to figure out how far away the handle is from the sensor line. So either way it goes, my goal is to figure out where the ends of the handle need to go. So what I'm going to do, I think it's going to be easier for me to measure off the center line. So again, this line is the same as this line on the project. So this is my drawing, this is the actual tool. So I'm just going to measure off of those two. So I'm going to measure that, and then I'm going to mark it with my pencil where that needs to be. Now I always double check my measurements before I keep going. So again, measure that. Yeah, looks pretty good. Now because again, these are symmetrical, I'm just going to take this measurement here and just copy it over here. And again, I'm just going to double check to make sure that that's the same. I just need to make it a little bit bigger. Try that again. I just want them to be even. That looks close. So this is where I'm saying that these two handles end. So these 2 points right here are the same as these 2 points on my drawing. Okay. The next thing I want to do is, if you look at the pliers, is that all the pliers, they have the two handles and they all kind of come together somewhere up here at the top. And so what I'm going to do is I want to figure out where this is. Now luckily on my tool I have like kind of a bolt here. So I'm going to use that as my landmark. You need to look at your tool and figure out what landmark in this area would be best for you to use. And I basically just want to figure out where that landmark is. And so what I'm going to do is, if you looked here, I have sort of drawn a line that connects both the ends of the handle. So I can see where the bottom of the tool actually is on the center line. So I'm going to measure from here to here in the middle, and I'm going to measure it and mark it on my paper. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to measure it from here and then mark it on here. That looks right. So again, I'm saying that this is the same as where this is. Alright? And I would always measure and mark a couple times. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to figure out where the two prongs are up here. So again, they're the same, and as you can see, mine are kind of thick up here. I have needle nose pliers where it's kind of skinny and really pointy. As far as where you measure off, it doesn't matter as long as you just know where you measured off. So if that means that if I measure the outside of these two prongs and then I mark them on there, remember that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again measure. I'm going to just use my hands. I'm going to measure with my hands how wide that is. I'm going to mark it on my paper. I want to make sure that these are symmetrical, so I want this to be the same on both sides. Marks that I'm making are just what I like to call educated guesses. This does not mean by any means that this is where everything is going to stay put. I might find, and I'm expecting to find that when I start doing the drawing, I'm going to probably need to move things around, because I'll just see everything a lot better. Because obviously, you know, with these little dots here, I can't really see how the drawing's going to work out quite yet. Okay, so that's that. That are those two spots. Okay, and that'll get you started on the drawing. So that's basically what you need to do just to kind of get things started. The next step, we're going to measure out of things, and then we'll start drawing it in.